They say ancestors protect us, but in this village, there was a secret no one dared to say out loud. Not all ancestors died as humans, and not all of them stayed buried. Every generation, one girl was chosen, not to lead, not to be honored, but to be taken back by the ones that lived beneath the earth. This year, the drums broke their silence at midnight, not for a festival, not for a ritual. They called a single name, the name of a girl who had no idea she had been marked since birth. Because in this village, children weren't born for their families, they were born for the ancestors. And tonight, the ancestors came to collect. The village of Uhamiri sat quietly behind thick forests and windy rivers. From the outside, it appeared peaceful, a place where palm trees whispered and night fires glowed like scattered stars. But beneath that peace lived centuries of unspoken fear. History had carved Uhamiri into a place of obedience, obedience to tradition, obedience to silence, obedience to the ancestors who walked the world before man remembered himself. Adanna, the 19-year-old girl, the drums will soon claim, grew up unaware of the shadows surrounding her birth. She lived simply, unaware that every glance she received, every blessing whispered over her, and every warning disguised as affection had been part of a preparation she never agreed to. She did not know she was born into a death that the living feared and the dead never forgot. Months before the drums began, the world around Adanna shifted in quiet, unsettling ways. Birds perched on her window in unusual stillness. Children stared at her as if recognizing a face that is not her own. Elders paused mid sentence when she walked by, careful not to meet her gaze. Even the wind seemed to hesitate around her, blowing gently around others, but cutting sharply against her skin. At night, she dreamt of shadowed figures dancing in circles, not joyfully, but in a way that felt like summoning. She woke up with the sense that someone had been standing at the foot of her bed only moments before. Still, she told no one. She believed the strange could be ignored, but the strange wasn't seeking her attention. It was reclaiming her. The first night she heard them, she thought it was thunder, a slow, steady pulse echoing across the night sky. But thunder fades. This did not. Night after night, the beat returned, first distant and muffled, then clearer, deeper, sharper. By the fifth night, it no longer sounded like drums from the forest. It sounded like drums beneath her house, beneath her floor, beneath her skin. The rhythm was not random. It matched her heartbeat. Or perhaps it forced it. And then she realized something horrifying. The drums were not calling someone, they were calling her. Each beat carried a silent message the living could not hear, but her bones understood perfectly. Come. The village changed when the drums chose her. Women whispered behind walls, men walked faster at night, elders avoided the streets altogether, but no one came to warn Adana. They couldn't. That was the rule. You do not interfere with the ancestors' choice. The villagers did what they had always done: turn away, pretend not to see, and praise the chosen one obeys without resistance. Because anyone who refused the drums, anyone who ran, anyone who tried to hide disappeared. Uhamiri carried many legends, but the darkest were not told to children. They were buried along with the girls who vanished, girls whose names were never spoken again. And now the people watched Adana, waiting for the ancestors to collect what was theirs. On the seventh night, the drum struck differently. It wasn't music, it was command. The air trembled, the ground quivered, even the moon seemed to dim. Adanna woke instantly, breath thin, heart caught between beats. The drums were not outside anymore. They were inside her walls, her ceiling, her very bloodstream. She rose as though pulled by invisible strings. Her feet moved without her will. Her eyes burned with a knowing she did not want. When she stepped outside, the entire village was frozen, breath held, doors shut, windows locked, but no one slept. Everyone heard nothing, yet everyone knew. The chosen one had finally answered. A narrow path of faint silver light stretched from her home to the forbidden forest, and Adanna followed, not out of courage, but out of inevitability. The forest was not like it appeared in daylight. The trees leaned inward, forming a tunnel of twisted branches. The air thickened with an ancient heaviness, as if every breath she took belonged to someone else first. The deeper she walked, the louder the drums grew, not above, not around, but below, as though the earth itself was beating. Shadows shifted without wind, animals stayed silent. The night felt alive, watching, waiting. At the end of the path, the forest opened into a vast clearing, and there they were. Massive drums arranged in a perfect circle, their surfaces marked with symbols that glowed like burning embers. No human hand touched them, yet they thundered in violent unison. In the center of the circle stood a strange stone, tall, black, ancient, stained with layers of offerings, older than the village itself. And as Adana stepped closer, the drums stopped. The silence was louder than any sound she ever heard. The ground beneath her warmed, the air hummed, the stone pulsed like a living heart. Memories she had never lived surged through her. Visions of a girl who had her face but not her soul. A girl who had walked this same path centuries ago. A girl who had willingly offered herself to the ancestors to protect the village from something far worse. The girl had been the first keeper, a guardian who stood between the living and the restless dead. The ancestors were not calling Adanna to destroy her. They were calling her to awaken what she had once been. The chosen one was not a victim, she was a replacement. And the promise sealed generations ago, the one the village had to bury, had finally come due. Adanna's soul was simply returning to its original owner. She had been born marked, born claimed, born bound to a duty no one warned her about. The drums resumed, slower now, rhythmic, deliberate. The stone opened, not like a door, but like a mouth. Light poured out, golden and violent, pulling her inward. And in that moment, she understood. She was not being taken, she was being restored. When the light consumed her, the forest bowed, the drums quieted, the earth settled. By the time dawn approached, the clearing was empty, but the village felt like the shift, deep ancestral exhale. Adanna was gone, but the keeper had returned. The ancestors would sleep again for now. If you like this story, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another myth, mystery, or chilling tale from the other side. And tell me in the comments, should I continue the keeper story